Today's briefing. A critical Cisco SD-WAN flaw lands on the US government's must-fix list. A popular NPM package is poisoned to steal credentials, and a supply chain attack brushes two corporate devices at a major AI company. Here's what changed, why it matters, and what to do next. Before we dive in, a quick trend check. This cycle underscores two steady realities. Patching remains non-negotiable as vendors push security updates across product lines, and software supply chain exposure continues to ripple downstream through third-party dependencies. Both themes run through every story today. First, CISA adds Cisco SD-WAN CVE-2026-20182 to the known exploited vulnerabilities catalog. The headline context: this is a newly disclosed critical authentication bypass affecting the Cisco Catalyst SD-WAN controller, now confirmed as exploited in the wild. Federal civilian agencies are required to remediate by May 17, 2026, elevating it on public sector priority lists and signaling urgency for everyone else. Key facts: the flaw allows authentication to be bypassed on the SD-WAN controller, a centralized component that orchestrates network connectivity across sites. CISA's KEV designation indicates observed exploitation, not theoretical risk, and sets a remediation deadline for federal agencies. Why it matters: central controllers sit in the pathway of large volumes of traffic and policy decisions. Compromise at that layer can enable broad visibility, configuration tampering, or pivot opportunities across distributed environments. Even if your organization isn't subject to the federal deadline, the KEV listing is a strong indicator that active threat activity is ongoing. Defender takeaway: inventory any Cisco Catalyst SD-WAN controllers, review the vendor's remediation guidance, and prioritize patching or mitigations. Restrict management plane access to trusted networks, enforce strong admin controls, and enable detailed logging of authentication events. Monitor for anomalous logins, unexpected configuration changes, and new administrative accounts, and consider out-of-band verification of controller integrity. Second, a popular node-ipc NPM package was compromised to steal credentials. The headline context: attackers injected credential-stealing malware into newly published versions of node-ipc, a widely used inter-process communication library in the JavaScript ecosystem. Because node-ipc is a common transitive dependency, many projects may have pulled the tainted versions automatically. Key facts: new releases were poisoned to run malicious code designed to exfiltrate credentials, affecting developers and CI/CD environments that resolved those versions. This is a classic open-source supply chain attack, executed through a trusted distribution channel. Credential theft from developer endpoints or build systems can lead to repository takeovers, package publishing abuse, cloud resource compromise, and downstream breaches in customer environments. The blast radius can extend far beyond any single project because of how dependencies propagate through lock files and build pipelines. Defender takeaway: immediately audit where node-ipc appears in your dependency trees, including transitive references. Compare resolved versions and lock files and package manifests to identify exposure windows. If compromised versions may have been installed or executed, treat impacted machines and pipelines as credential exposed. Rotate tokens, SSH keys, and secrets. Invalidate cached credentials, and review access logs for anomalous activity. Pin to known good versions. Enable integrity verification. Enforce registry allow lists, and require multi-factor authentication and least privilege scopes for developer and automation credentials. Third, the TanStack supply chain attack touched two employee devices at a leading AI organization, prompting macOS updates. The headline context: the company disclosed that two corporate devices were impacted via the mini-Sci-Halud attack on TanStack. They reported no user data, production systems, or intellectual property were accessed or modified without authorization. In response, they quickly investigated, contained, and initiated additional hardening steps, including macOS updates. Key facts: exposure was limited to two devices inside the corporate environment. The incident originated from a dependency compromise in the TanStack ecosystem, reinforcing how developer tooling and libraries can become an entry point. The organization's public statement emphasized containment and a lack of impact to core systems or customer data. Why it matters: even mature, well-resourced teams can be brushed by upstream compromises. Developer endpoints, especially macOS devices common in engineering, remain prime targets. A rapid, transparent response with clear scope and prompt platform updates helps reduce dwell time and limit lateral movement. Defender takeaway:
If you rely on TanStack or adjacent packages, review your dependency graphs and build provenance for the period of concern. Scan, and if necessary, reimage endpoints that compiled or executed affected components. Enforce timely OS updates across developer fleets. Harden endpoint detection and response on macOS, and ensure least privilege access to source code, build secrets, and production environments. Expand software supply chain controls with strict version pinning, reproducible builds, signed artifacts, and continuous monitoring of dependency integrity. The through line today is simple. Close high-impact gaps quickly, and assume your dependencies can change underneath you. Action items for the next 24 to 72 hours. Verify whether any Cisco Catalyst SD-WAN controllers are in scope and move remediation to the top of the queue. Audit NPM dependencies for node-ipc exposure and rotate any potentially compromised credentials. And review your TanStack footprint while tightening endpoint and build pipeline controls. If this briefing helped you prioritize, subscribe for operational updates, share it with your team, and drop a comment on what you're seeing in the wild.